Hello, it's Oren Prunk, and today I want to talk to you about how you can go about not wasting your time, your money, and your effort in your marketing and sales. Now, I've been teaching at university level for several years now. I've taught in many different schools. I've taught law topics, I've taught innovation topics, first and second and third year undergraduates. And the pattern I've noticed, and I've also noticed this when I went through study of some of my peers, is that when we go about setting the deadlines for assignments, they the deadline has been given 12 weeks out, 3 months, a quarter of a year, a really long time of notice to give people enough time to manage their life and all of the other competing priorities that occur for them to get an assignment in on time without a penalty. So 12 weeks they have notice for assignments, and what inevitably happens, of course there is exceptions to the rule, but the majority of people, the vast majority of them, end up handing the assignment up literally like a minute before. And you can see the timestamps as assignments come through, and they're always within a few minutes of the deadline. Now, why is this? Now, there is a law that encapsulates this. It's called Parkinson's law, and it says that tasks expand to the time allowable for their completion. For example, if you have 3 months for a task, it will take you 3 months to go complete it. And this is epitomized by university students. I had a friend at uni when we went through law school who would leave starting the assignment until after the due date. So the due date would lapse, and then the very next day he would start the assignment and he'd get it done within 12 hours and then hand it up. Crazy, right? So tasks expand to the time available for their completion. A task that has 12 weeks will take 12 weeks. A task that has 12 hours will take 12 hours. No matter what the deadline is, you will get it done. And you can also see it within assignment extensions. Someone asks for a 24-hour assignment extension, they probably haven't done it, but they get it done within 24 hours. It's always the deadline that sets when you start the project. Now, the flow on from that is another law called the Pareto Principle. Now, the Pareto Principle, you would have heard this. It says that 20% of the effort creates 80% of the results. Now, the remaining 20% of results takes another 80% of effort. Ton of disproportionate amount of effort to reward ratio. And the thing is, when you have a very short deadline, you concentrate on the 20% that gets you 80% of the results. It's actually the critical few that you concentrate on, not the trivial many. So the combination between Parkinson's law and the Pareto Principle allows you, as a marketer or salesperson, to not waste money, not waste time, not waste effort. Now, how does that practically apply to the things that you are doing? Now, in terms of time and effort, the thing that I have found over the last 2 decades is following frameworks and templates for getting certain results. Now, lots of different things within marketing and sales have certain frameworks that are proven to work. There is, a recipe or a process that you need to go through to get some sort of result. And that recipe or process has some sort of template that you can just fill in the dots or fill in the blanks, or connect the dots. And if you have those two things, now you probably don't, but if you do have those, and I've got them and I've developed them for everything that I do, if you've got those two things, you are going to cut your time and your effort down considerably. You can bring your deadlines in, and thus those frameworks and templates act as a way of shortcutting to the Pareto Principles, the critical few, not the trivial many. Now, in terms of saving money, a lot of people forget about all of the different costs that are involved in operating a business. There's a really good article by a guy named Timothy Ferriss called The Margin Manifesto, and this guy goes into the concept pretty pretty broadly in terms of business, but basically the premise of that, and I would encourage you to go read the article, the premise of it is that most people forget all of the different costs that are associated with business, and when they try to scale, they have forgotten a key cost, i.e. their time, and there's a cost associated with that. So when they try to go scale, they're not able to scale because they haven't factored in a critical cost that they can't replace by going and hiring someone for. So the same applies for your marketing and sales. There are hard costs that you just can't get over. There are human resource costs, whether it's you or someone else doing, that you have to pay for. Now, I'm not talking about how do you save money on that, because there are some things you've just got to do. What I am going to concentrate on, and one that's going to give you the most leverage, is around your marketing channels. I'm not going to talk about sales because there's very little that you can actually shave off there, in my opinion, without suffering any negative return. But in terms of channels, in terms of marketing, this is probably the easiest thing that you can shave off money. And that is, in terms of channels, you've got paid, earned, and owned channels. Owned channels, I'm not going to talk about that. That crosses over into sales of just what I was talking about. I don't want you to skimp on any of that. But on the flip side, on the marketing side, you've got paid and earned. Now, if you want to save money, in other words, don't waste money. I'm going to get to that point in a minute. But if you want to save money, I would highly recommend going out and building out earned media channels, earned marketing channels, because it doesn't cost anything, right? Whereas paid channels do. Now, the critical component here with you're not going to waste anything is if you are going to spend money on paid channels, I want you to be testing everything that you do to make sure that the money that you put in is getting a requisite amount of return on the way out. That is the way, the testing part is the way you're not going to waste money if you go down the paid channel route. The alternative is just not to do any paid channels and go through all earned channels. It doesn't cost you anything in terms of money, but it's going to cost you in terms of your time or your marketing and sales team time to actually go and do that. So don't forget about that, and that's where it comes back to Timothy Ferriss's article on the Margin Manifesto. So hopefully this gives you a bit of an idea about how you can go about saving time, money, and effort in your marketing and sales in those critical components, the 80-20 rule of the 20% that you can concentrate on that will get you that 80% of savings in terms of what you're doing. So I want you to try that out. Let me know how you can go about saving either time and effort by creating or adopting other people's frameworks and templates, or going and concentrating on earned channels, or concentrating on paid channels but being very meticulous about testing that so you're not wasting money. And I'd love you to try it out and let me know how you go, like always. And until we talk next time, goodbye and have a great day.